polish that shape. Comb the hair back and let the hair fall into a rough centre and find the crown. The crown is that area where the hair is growing out in a circle at the back of the head. Take a horizontal section right the way through the crown with your body directly behind the section and at the back. With your fingernails looking away from you, fingers also horizontal, mirroring the section below and pointing directly to the sides. We cut a square line in the middle first, then connect to either side at the top. Adjust the length until we are happy. We then take another horizontal section right in front of our first section, with our body directly behind the section at the back. We over-direct slightly to our first section with our fingernails looking away from us, fingers also horizontal, mirroring the section below and pointing directly to the sides. We cut a square line in the middle first, then we connect to either side at the top. Our third section on top is exactly the same. Horizontal section right in front of our last section, with our body directly behind the section at the back. We over-direct to our previous section with our fingernails looking away from us. Fingers also horizontal, mirroring that section below and pointing directly to the sides. We cut a square line in the middle first, then we connect to either side. We can now start to see the length we are starting to build on top towards the front, and there is absolutely continuity with our method. When you are clippering the sides and back, we highly recommend that you do not wet the sides or back down again unless you really have to. The hair drying off as you work through the sides and back will enable you to see the shape building and developing, and this is the only way you will create an excellent short back and sides result. Keep checking for balance as you work, looking for the square flat top shape by cross-checking, now standing at the front. Let's see result. Drying off as you wait from us. Fingers also horizontal, mirroring that section below and pointing directly to the sides. We cut a square line in the middle first, then we connect to either side. We can now start to see the length we are starting to build on top towards the front, and there is absolutely continuity with our method. When you are clippering the sides and back, we highly recommend that you do not wet the sides or back down again unless you really have to. The hair drying off as you work through the sides and back will enable you to see the shape building and developing, and this is the only way you will create an excellent short back and sides result. Keep checking for balance as you work, looking for the square flat top shape by cross-checking, now standing at the front. There should only ever be dust coming off when you cross-check. Any more than dust, and you should be going back to your original method for the best quality result. When cutting the top, we would recommend keeping the hair wet, so we are able to take sections neatly and work cleanly. Check your balance on either side by now standing at the front of the head with the fingernails now looking at us. We can cross-check to make sure our line going horizontally across the top is square and the same length on both sides of the head. We don't want to see a heel, we want to see a flat top. We are now moving towards the front of the flat top, where we start to over-direct now to create length in the front. The more you over-direct here, the longer the front will be. The less over-direction, the shorter the front will be. Lead Staff and Education would now like to take this opportunity to make it very clear we are only using electrical clippers from damp hair in this video because we are cutting on a mannequin head which cannot get an electric shock. Nails now looking at us. Any more than dust, and you should be going back to your original method for the best quality result. When cutting the top, we would recommend keeping the hair wet. So we're able to take sections neatly and work cleanly. Check your balance on either side by now standing at the front of the head with the fingernails now looking at us. We can cross-check to make sure our line going horizontally across the top is square and the same length on both sides of the head. We don't want to see a heel, we want to see a flat top. We are now moving towards the front of the flat top, where we start to over-direct now to create length in the front. The more you over-direct here, the longer the front will be. The less over-direction, the shorter the front will be. Police staff and education would now like to take this opportunity to make it very clear we are only using electrical clippers from Ampere in this video because we are cutting on a mannequin head which cannot get an electric shock. On a real person, for health and safety reasons, we must either clipper the hair when it's dry or use a pair of cordless clippers that are not attached at the mains. At Least Staff and Education, we recommend starting this recipe with the hair towel dried for ease when clippering at the beginning, with a pair of cordless clippers, and letting the hair around the sides and back dry off naturally as you work. Here we are over-directing the hair right back for maximum length around the front to create this contemporary psychobilly Elvis vibe. This over-direction at the front will depend though on the finished look you and your clients are going for, so adjust for suitability. Horseshoe shape, take horizontal sections, body directly behind the section at the back. First section pulled straight out, the following sections pulled to the last section. Cut the middle first, then the outside, cross-check from the front and over-direct the front back. We now take a vertical centre back section just under the crown, with our fingernails still looking away from us, fingers parallel to the section we're taking below, pulling the hair out straight from the head with no over-direction. Next, take a parallel vertical section with our fingernails again looking away from us, fingers parallel to the vertical section below, but now over-direct to our previous section. With our body still firmly at the back, we take our third vertical section. Our elbow is facing to the floor for right-handers, and we now over-direct to our previous section, creating a square shape through the back. On the other side, we do exactly the same, but this time, if you're right-handed, you will have to get your elbow right up in the air, pointing towards the ceiling to mirror the vertical section you have just taken below. For left-handers, your elbow will be pointing to the floor on this side, but to the ceiling on the previous side. This elbow position is paramount to guaranteeing your balance and symmetry. Let's have a head check. Take vertical sections, fingernails looking away from you, fingers parallel to the section below. First section straight out from the head, parallel vertical sections, and connect to your crown. A big fat dollop of Least Staff and double blow mousse worked into the hair, and we blow dry gently, brushing the hair going away and up from the face, which will bring out the shape of our underneath cuts. With our flat top blow dry, we position our body towards the front, combing the hair we don't want yet to the front and out of the way. And we start our blow dry on the crown, brushing and blowing the hair back, concentrating on the hair in the middle, then either side, encouraging the hair to fulfill its square flat top shape. When we get over the high point of the head, we can brush the hair back in the same way, but pull the brush back gently on the roots for a little movement and hold in the finish. The hair at the back under the crown needs to be dried off as natural as possible to make our scissor over comb easier. With our cutting comb and our body at the back, we scissor over comb the hair in between the bottom and the top, melting them together so there's an invisible join where you can't see where they stop and start. Please note we are using thinning scissors for extra softness, but ordinary scissors will suffice. Also note that the scissors are moving faster than the comb, and the comb is always moving up and away from the head. The shape we are creating at the back very much follows the square shape of the top. We are also using our thinning scissors to soften out the top. Our body is firmly at the back when we do this. Our comb is square and horizontal, cutting into the ends of the hair, keeping the comb always moving from the back to the front of the head. If the thinning scissors are not available, we can point cut for the same effect. All we need to do now is apply a little finishing product. This is Lee Stafford Messed Up Button. We place a little on the palm of our hands. Remember, we can always add, but it's not as easy to take away. We massage the product into the hand till it seems to disappear, and we apply the putty as evenly as possible, massaging into all the hair, bringing the shape alive. Let's have our last head check. Big dollop of mousse, start blow drying from the crown, brushing the hair away from the face. Get a little movement in the roots and scissor over comb, melting that shape. And there you have it, an old school, timeless, masculine winner. This recipe is not just about a look, it's also about strong technique and methods. Upping our skill set, and a skill that can be used for many a shape, and a shape that's always been classically worn by men, always comes back in fashion, and always will.